to get the water?
Is that like, that's like a impossible question, I think. It's Beyonce?
We're not about to name locations of things and be like, yeah, dude, see you there in my live.
If you could be a Disney princess, who would you be?
Cinderella, because she worked for what she got. She wasn't some little mermaid.
My one thing was I went into the Disney Channel building and I sat down with the president of Disney Channel and I said, I want to make history. And that's what this is.
So wait, is this so people can see this on your Instagram or your Twitter?
Yes, on my Instagram.
Okay.
You think I could go live on Facebook?
Justin, if you can hear me. Justin, you're right there. Make me one less lonely girl.
It was so obvious that Katy Perry was lip syncing during her performance at the NRJ Music Awards. Like, there was a very blatant 15-second delay between what she was hearing in her earpiece and what the audience was hearing in the crowd. And like in clips from that night, you can just see the embarrassment on Katy's face when the host of the show asked her to start again. And then, oh yeah, you actually have to sing. And that's not her only notable super embarrassing onstage moment. In 2008, she was performing her hit song I Kissed a Girl for the MTV Latin American Awards, and she must have thought that jumping into a gigantic pink frosted cake was like a great idea. But then it was time for her to get out of the cake and she kind of was being held hostage. She fell flat on her face when she finally wrestled free of the cake, and then another 7 times before she was carried off stage, the cake tripping her on her way out. And even though it was like super embarrassing, she managed to keep a smile on her face, so like points to her, but like, girl, choices. Hugh Jackman once admitted in an interview that he had a bit of a leak in front of a crowd while he was on stage playing Gaston in a 1996 Australian production of Beauty and the Beast. So the actor revealed that after enduring headaches for 2 months, he asked an expert what to do and they said drink more water. So on the day of performing, he consumed so much water that by the time he was set to deliver his first number, he had to go. He explained, literally, I'm picking up Belle, and as I pick her up, I stopped singing, and right in that moment, I realized the muscles you need to release in order to sing are the ones you don't want to release if you need to go. Back in 2013, Selena Gomez was performing at the Kiss FM Jingle Ball and was dealing with some major sound issues. Now, she might have been lip syncing because apparently what was heard in the crowd was her backup track, and like honestly whatever, lip syncing happens, but after one of her songs, the lights went down, the crowd went nuts, and then she yelled, "What the F?" into the microphone, because she didn't realize it was still on. So then everybody in the crowd was murmuring, like really nervously, and when the lights came back up, she was like, "Oh, so sorry guys, sound issues, I'm gonna play 2 more songs." Well, she only played 1 more song and then had to leave the stage. Poor thing. The 2012 Emmy Awards caused quite a ruckus for the beautiful Sofia Vergara. Seems like her designer dress was a little too tight and her derriere for its freedom and came out victorious. 20 minutes before Modern Family won the Outstanding Comedy Award for the 3rd year in a row, this wardrobe malfunction sent Sofia Vergara flying backstage to fix the problem with the help of her wardrobe team. Thankfully, this embarrassing moment did not faze her one bit. She even tweeted out the photo of her rear end for the entire world to see. You go, girl. Jennifer Lawrence is an incredible actress, super down to earth, super relatable. She's super talented, she's quick on her feet, but sometimes she's a little too quick on her feet. And we all saw this back in 2013 when she won Best Actress and tripped up the stairs while on her way to accept the award. Look, I've been there, I've worn the big skirts, I've fallen and done my fair share, but I don't think anybody has ever fallen quite as much as she has in terms of red carpet events, but she's doing great. Maybe just like get some help when you're wearing the big ball gowns. Been there. Beyonce is more than a person. She is the embodiment of beauty, talent, and success. She's lived most of her life on stage performing like she was born to do, and throughout her entire career she's remained classy in any outfit, no matter how revealing or outrageous, and has continued to be just incredible. It cannot be argued. Queen Bee all the way. But hey, even queens have their moments, and it's their choice on whether to dwell on them or pick themselves up. And I think we can all agree that when Queen Bee falls down, she bounces back up in a heartbeat, which she has proven to us over and over again. I think all in all she's fallen like 9 or 10 times, but her biggest stumble was during the Beyonce Experience tour, where she fell down 12 steps. Thankfully she didn't get hurt, but like, whew, poor thing. Ouchie. Kelly Clarkson found herself in a bad position after some food didn't agree with her stomach during a performance. She almost ended up pooping her pants on stage, and when she had the opportunity to run off during a quick change, she apparently destroyed a trash can. She said, like, I got some kind of wrecked up from some kind of food. We were in an arena, and I shouldn't tell this story, but like I said, I don't have a filter. She had to run backstage to do her quick change. She grabbed this poor trash can, and boy, she destroyed it. It was bad. She's like, it was bad. I'm just saying, it happens. What are you supposed to do? Hey, you do you. Things happen. Joe Jonas once had an accident on stage in the middle of a performance with his brother. Looking back on the 2019 incident, Joe says that when he realized he had also done a number 2, he quickly ran off to make a quick wardrobe change. And while he thought a lot of people would notice, Turns out nobody really knew what was happening. He said, let's just say it was a bad day to choose to wear white clothing. You might think it might be a little toot, might have been a little something else, it was a little something extra. He said it was a light one, wasn't a full, so I was able to tell the tale. Thank you so much for that detail, Joe. That's what I needed today. He definitely continued the whole time. I thought this was definitely somebody is going to be able to see this and know what is happening, but it was all in my head. Wasn't as big of a deal as I thought. But such is life. It's happened to many artists. I feel like I've paid my dues. I'm part of some secret club now. Yeah, okay, pal. In 2004, Ashlee Simpson performed her hit single Pieces of Me on Saturday Night Live, and it went fine. But then when she came back to perform her next tune, Autobiography, things went south. The vocals for Pieces of Me began playing while her mic was down at her side. She tried to recover, for some reason, with a spontaneous hoedown before fleeing the stage. We've all seen the clip. At the end of the episode, a visibly mortified Simpson said, "I feel so bad. My band started playing the wrong song. Didn't know what to do. Thought I'd do a hoedown." Later on 60 Minutes, she blamed her acid reflux for her reliance on a backing vocal track, and she's attempted comebacks, but no public was having it. Her record sales never recovered. We haven't really heard from her ever again. The house is packed. The ovation is standing, but the reviews are scathing. Why is it that there was such a visceral reaction to Cameron Dallas's run in the Broadway adaptation of Mean Girls as romantic lead Aaron Samuels? Was the runway model turned Broadway star too harshly treated by the critics online? Or was this a really damning moment of the dreaded stunt casting that's plagued a lot of Broadway productions for years? When the original Aaron, the beloved by fans Kyle Selig, opted to take a leave of absence from the show, it was announced that Mean Girls would introduce Cameron Dallas to take over the mantle for just like 4 weeks. And the decision proved unpopular with hardcore fans of the New York theater community, but also saw a huge response from fans of the heartthrob. Look, at the time, he was like the most famous member of the cast. He had more followers on Insta and Twitter than the entire ensemble put together multiple times over. His announcement on Instagram garnered almost as many likes as the official Mean Girls on Broadway account had followers altogether. We're talking like over 200,000. So there was no doubting, objectively, the considerable difference in ability at almost every quantifiable level between the social media celeb and the man he was covering for. Kyle's vocal range was leagues above Cameron Dallas's. Ditto to the acting credits. After all, there's a decade of experience in musical theater, stage time, and possibly most egregiously for theater purists, dues paid between the pair. Like when Kyle won the National High School Music Award and was subsequently granted a $10,000 scholarship for musical theater, Vine, the app where Cameron Dallas would launch his career, was still 2 years away from launching. One Reddit poster claimed that after watching the show on what was Cameron's opening night, that he sounded like he was reading his lines from a teleprompter. I remember when this hit the internet, I heard a boot. It was rough. John Cena made sure he didn't show too much on the 2024 Oscars stage. The actor appeared to be fully in the nude as he presented the award for Best Costume Design. He certainly wasn't wearing much, but he had some precautions in place to avoid any dramatic wardrobe malfunction. Now, behind the scenes photos do show Cena standing in an Oscars hallway wearing a modesty pouch to cover up the most personal parts. It's basically a pair of underwear, pocketed to the front and the back. So while it looked like the pro wrestler could flash to the audience at any moment, the Oscars team made sure that wasn't gonna happen. It was all an homage to one dramatic Oscars moment past. The 46th Academy Awards, 1974. David Niven was in the middle of introducing Elizabeth Taylor when a streaker ran across the stage, and host Jimmy Kimmel was like, hey, can you imagine if a nude man ran across the stage today? And Cena fit the bill. But he wasn't going to become the next Hollywood streaker. They were joking that, he was supposed to, and then he got cold feet. And if you found yourself wondering if this was a music performance or a episode of WWE Raw, don't worry, you're not alone. While performing at the 2013 Billboard Music Awards, R&B star Miguel decided to take things up a notch. He leapt from the stage across the teeming crowd, but fell short, directly landing on a fan's head while hitting another with his leg. To add to the awkwardness, he proceeded to hug the wrong person and continued with his performance. He later appeared in a backstage interview with one of the injured fans in an apparent attempt at damage control. However, he was eventually sued by another lady who claimed to have also been hurt by his humiliating job. Our first story for today started on August 6th of 2024 at the New York City premiere of It Ends With Us, when fans noticed that there wasn't a single photo of the entire cast together. So you got Blake Lively. She was photographed with her husband, Ryan Reynolds, who actually joined in on the press junket run for the movie, despite not being in the movie. Fellow A-lister Hugh Jackman, also not in the movie, and co-stars Jenny Slate, Brandon Slinner. But what stood out the most was that Justin Baldoni only appeared on the red carpet solo, and side by side with his wife, Emily, and other friends and family, but never with Blake Lively or any of the co-stars from the movie. According to People magazine, Baldoni also allegedly didn't introduce the film ahead of the screening with Lively and Hoover, despite being the director and the star of the film. So Baldoni and his production company, Wayfarer Studios, acquired the rights to the book in 2019, and then Blake was cast in it back in 2023. But it's very weird for the director not to introduce the movie at the screening. When Don't Worry Darling premiered at the 2022 Venice International Film Festival, co-stars Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde, who were reportedly dating at the time, seemed to avoid each other on the red carpet. During every group photo, they always had somebody between them to pose. In one viral video, Harry seemingly declined a request from a team member who was like, "Hey, stay next to Olivia," and it was like, this whole red carpet went viral. At the 2023 Academy Awards, Vanessa Hudgens was interviewing celebs as ABC's red carpet correspondent, but her ex, Best Actor nominee Austin Butler, was interviewed by her co-host Ashley Graham. So later in the night, as Austin exited the Vanity Fair Oscars after party, Vanessa kept her eyes on her phone as she brushed past him. Vanessa seemingly responded to the full video by sharing a video of Malala telling Jimmy Kimmel, "I only talk about peace," captioning it, "Let's all be the I only talk about peace train." Okay? Through almost 3 decades of laughter, some of the best South Park episodes have upset some pretty powerful people. And while that's exactly what Matt Stone and Trey Parker engineered the show to do, it was their infamous outfits from the 72nd Academy Awards in the year 2000 that resulted in one of their favorite celebrity reactions. And as it turns out, that stunt saw Stone and Parker respectively dressed in famous dresses worn by Gwyneth Paltrow and Jennifer Lopez, and it caused JLo herself to react with a pretty pronounced snub on that night's red carpet. In an interview shared via the Good Sons YouTube channel, South Park co-creator and co-star Trey Parker shared what he felt was the best celebrity reaction to one of their collective shenanigans. So he's like, okay, why is JLo so upset? Well, he shared this. He's like, "My favorite is actually, and I think it's because I wore her dress to the Oscars. But we saw Jennifer Lopez at a party, and all she did was walk past me and push me. I think that's pretty cool." And here I thought the most heated reaction to South Park was that lawsuit between Paramount and Warner for the streaming rights. At the 2023 VMAs, Tiffany Haddish continually photobombed Shakira, who totally ignored her. In a viral video, Tiffany shouted Shakira's name from across the room, and then kept calling for her as she got closer. And Shakira didn't even turn around to see who was yelling for her. In response to criticism of her behavior, Tiffany tweeted, "This is so interesting to me. If you feel like I did too much, all of y'all better be buying Shakira's new album. This experience has allowed me to realize how truly popular I am. I appreciate all of your opinions." At the National Night of Laughter and Song in 2017, Jerry Seinfeld was approached by Kesha, who asked him for a hug, and he repeatedly said no. Jerry later explained to Extra, "I don't hug a total stranger." Now, Kesha talked about the incident with SiriusXM, and she was like, "I felt like I was 5 years old. Oh, I instantly was like, oh, F me." And I somehow ended up in my very own episode, or mini episode of Seinfeld for 5 seconds. Well, I guess Cardi B had Kesha's back, because she had this whole interview with Jerry Seinfeld and Zach Galifianakis. And as she was leaving, she hugged Zach goodbye, but not Jerry. I guess to get a little revenge for Kesha. Kinda cute. Simu Liu is letting it known that the Kenergy between him and his Barbie co-star Ryan Gosling has never been stronger. So he took to Instagram after a resurfaced video of him and Gosling at a Barbie press event in Toronto went viral, prompting fans to question whether the two had butted heads. So in the clip, Simu Liu can be seen placing his arm behind Ryan Gosling's back while posing for cameras, before Ryan Gosling seemingly asks him not to. So obviously this interaction raised some eyebrows following Barbie's theatrical release, but Leo insisted all was well between the two Kens. He's like, "I'd beat you off with the Canadian again in a heartbeat." He said this on his Instagram story. So cool, fun. Leo went on to call Gosling the best human in every way, especially when he jokes around with us on the carpet and on set, infecting all of us with his Kenergy. So fans were quick to weigh in on the awkward moment online before the air was cleared, with one fan writing via Twitter, "Oh, I'd literally never show my face again." Another user wrote, "This is so humiliating it made my stomach hurt." Others, however, pointed out that the star's behavior reflected the relationship between their two versions of Ken in the Barbie movie, as their respective characters are kind of rivals throughout the entirety of the film. And hey, if you know anything about Ryan Gosling, he sells whatever character he's playing until that, leaves the theater. So maybe he was just reminding Simu Liu to stay in character. It added to the appeal of the storyline in the press, so kind of brilliant if it was planned. Kylie Jenner seemed to brutally snub Selena Gomez at the 81st Annual Golden Globe Awards. So at the prestigious award show, it seemed that Selena was feeling frustrated as she angrily vented to her besties Taylor Swift and Keely Sperry about the hurtful interaction she had with the famous Kardashian. Expert lip reader Jeremy Freeman broke down the chat for the news, revealing that it seemed Kylie refused to let Selena take a picture with her boyfriend, actor Timothée Chalamet, during the red carpet event. It appeared that Selena said to Taylor, "I asked for a picture with him and she said no," to which Kaylee then mouthed, "With Timothy?" To which Selena nodded. So after all this tenseness, fans took to social media sharing their thoughts on the drama. One fan wrote, "It might be true, I do the same to my man, LMAO." Another wrote, "A heavy nod Selena did after, I just know she was ready for the mess she was about to start." And a third added, "Taylor's friend is messy as hell for yelling Timothy's name so loud like that." Anyway, the discourse around this is already weird. Why am I seeing people saying she's too old for this? If a former friend declined a photo with you, literally any woman's first move would be to tell her best friends about it. It's really not that deep. After last year's Critics' Choice Awards, one celebrity moment was causing a stir online after an eagle-eyed viewer honed in on a seriously awkward interaction between Dua Lipa and Billie Eilish. So both stars were nominated in the Best Original Song category for their respective work on Barbie, so they were seated at the same table for the swanky show. Well, during a brief moment of downtime, both Dua and Billie were standing up and mingling with other guests when Dua spotted a camera and seemingly attempted to pose with Billie. In the clip, the star flicks her long hair over her shoulder and, while maintaining eye contact with the camera, turns around with the apparent intention of being back-to-back with Billie. Now, unfortunately, Billie had looked away, like right before Dua started posing, and looks like she didn't want to pose. So instead, she moves her back away from Dua, which prompts Dua Lipa to hastily straighten up and kind of awkwardly laugh. And in a bid to try and brush off the cringeworthy moment, she then casually picks up something to eat from the table, while Billie sits down, still unaware of what she's kind of done. Needless to say, this whole thing caused quite the stir online, with a lot of folks being like, "Oh my god, I'm feeling the secondhand embarrassment." Literally, one tweet said, "Can you delete this? I am suffering secondhand embarrassment." Somebody said, this is like someone ignoring your high five, but only 1,000 times worse. Somebody went so far as to say, "Not to be dramatic, but I would hide myself under the table till the entire ceremony is over." The MMA Hour host was covering the Paris Olympics for Canadian broadcaster CBC and took to Twitter and shared a compilation of his interviews as well as his celebrity snubs. We're talking Ariana Grande, Nina Dobrev. He was like, "Exciting assignment. Go talk to famous people at the opening ceremony red carpet. Me, yay. Reality, snub city." Now, fans took to the online forums and they're like, "Hey look, you really tried. And look, you still got some star athletes to talk to you. That's gotta count for something, right?"
Something always goes wrong when it comes to live TV. Just a couple weeks ago, Sabrina Carpenter ran screaming from the stage after she was standing a little too close to some pyrotechnics. The singer was at San Francisco's Outside Lands Festival on August 10th to perform some of her hits. The show was a massive success, featuring some really great performances, but I guess they missed one pretty important detail in rehearsal: how far away Sabrina should stand from the platform when the pyrotechnics go off. The star genuinely seemed scared for her life after the fireworks started going off all around her, to the point where people wondered if something was seriously wrong. It's unclear in videos if she was hit by a firework or simply was just surprised by them. Hopefully it's the latter. John Travolta said Idina Menzel's name wrong one time and it lives rent-free in my head. But where did Travolta say her name wrong? In an interview? On a red carpet? No, he did it while presenting at the Oscars, and not even an award. He was introducing her before she sang one of the most famous Disney songs ever, Let It Go. People were tuned in to watch this performance. The odds were so stacked against him. His intro was, "Please welcome the wickedly talented one and only Adele Dazeem." Now, I don't know who that is, but Idina Menzel did a great job. She said it took her 8 beats to get over the pronunciation. Travolta later shared what caused the vocal blunder. It was a combination of things. He met Goldie Hawn backstage, and then his lines were changed last minute to add phonetic spelling of Menzel's name that he never rehearsed with, which makes me wonder how they could have possibly written her name to get Adele Dazeem. As expected, the interview took this misstep and ran with it. Someone made a Travoltify your name generator. If you go to Google and look up Adele Dazeem, it will show you Idina Menzel. Menzel took this all in stride, even recently wished the moment a happy 10th birthday. Grande, but she got her revenge the next year at the 2015 Oscars, introducing Travolta as Glom Gazingo. Kendall Jenner trying to introduce 5 Seconds of Summer at the 2014 Billboard Music Awards is a tough watch. What was in the air that year? Kendall was supposed to introduce 5 Seconds of Summer, right? But it sounds like she almost introduced One Direction instead. She was doing really good up until the end. She just got lost. I can see why she might have messed up. At the beginning of her bit, the word direction was stressed, and the word summer was used back to back. When she hit her first hiccup, Jenner got flustered quickly and visibly was panicking before saying, "Guys, I'm the worst reader," nervously laughing before jumping back on the horse for a semi-strong finish. After the moment happened, Jenner tweeted an explanation. She messed up because she didn't have her contacts. But now we are, in fact, going to talk about One Direction. And again, this screw up happened in 2014. What was up with that year? In this case, we are at the Brit Awards. One Direction has just won the award for global success. There are only 4 boys up there, and this was a time when there should have been 5. Point is, Harry Styles wasn't on stage. Liam Payne started stalling a little to see if Styles could be located, saying, "Has anyone seen the curly lad?" Right, there's 4 of us now, and that's some real life foreshadowing right there. But then, just as Liam is kind of wrapping up the acceptance speech, out from the shadows and sprinting to the stage is one Harry Styles. Poor Harry gets up on the stage and Liam hands him the mic. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't even know what award they've won. He does share why he was gone, saying, "I'm really sorry, I was having a wee." The 2013 Oscars were iconic for one reason, and that was the Jennifer Lawrence stair trip. 22-year-old Lawrence had just won the Oscar for Best Actress. She's wearing this beautiful long gown, which is her undoing because she trips and falls on her way up the stairs. But it's Jennifer Lawrence, so she plays it off so well. Works it into her speech, she gets a standing ovation when she does finally get up to the podium, and addresses the crowd saying, "You guys are just standing up because you feel bad that I fell, and that's really embarrassing." How could you not love her? Though it was embarrassing, now it's part of the Lawrence charm to be just a little bit clumsy. We love it when a celebrity proves that they are human just like us. And honestly, if you look at the pictures of the fall, she still looks great and kind of like a Disney princess. Joe Coy's bad Barbie joke at this year's Golden Globes got the comedian swiftly cancelled. First off, I can't believe that was this year. That feels like it was ages ago. And second, he was cancelled because he said a lot of really bad jokes and strange things. The Barbie joke was just the worst. Coy eventually got around to talking about the event of last summer, Barbenheimer, in his opening monologue. He compared what the 2 films were based on, mentioning that Oppenheimer was based on a 721-page Pulitzer Prize-winning book about the Manhattan Project, whereas Barbie was based on a plastic doll and went on to speak cruelly about said doll. Finishing off with the stellar line, "The key moment in Barbie is when she goes from perfect beauty to bad breath, cellulite, and flat feet, or what casting directors call character actor." The audience's reaction to this moment are funnier than any joke he told that night. You can tell that Coy can feel that he's not doing a good job. He starts blaming the writers, making excuses like how he only got the job 10 days ago, saying that he didn't write the bad jokes, he wrote the ones everyone is laughing at. Either way, it wasn't a good look. Larry David introducing Ariana Grande on SNL is over 8 years old now, and I still laugh every time. It happened right before Ariana was supposed to sing her hit song Dangerous Woman. Larry David says, "Ladies and gentlemen, just fine. It's just when he gets to her name that it goes downhill. Names are hard. I don't blame him. He goes for Ariana Grande. He ends up saying Ariana before just giving up. He knows he messed up too much to fix it, so he just stops, and we've all been there. He even does the little hand clap thing that universally conveys that you've accepted your fate. This video is so funny, and some random audience member also lets out the loudest laugh you've ever heard. It's a miracle Ariana was able to perform. I simply would have started laughing. Steve Harvey frequently hosts the Miss Universe pageant, and while he does do a good job, he also makes some little mistakes every once in a while, but none are more famous than when he read out the wrong winner back in 2015, crowning Miss Colombia when in reality Miss Philippines was the winner. Harvey has since looked back on this moment, calling it painful and the worst week of his life. I don't blame him, he was the internet's favorite target for a while. He later explained that the reason the mess up even happened was because there were a lot of changes made before he was supposed to head out on stage. So typically they read 2 names, but that was changed to 3. Apparently, he was also told to read the wrong name by someone in his earpiece. He was told to read the next name, which was Columbia, on the card, and he didn't even know anything was wrong after he read it, it since he stepped off stage and got a bunch of compliments. It wasn't until someone on his team let him know what happened that he got with the program. Harvey said that he regrets going back out on the stage after and wishes he could have let someone else handle it, believing that if he did that, he wouldn't have received so much backlash. Fergie singing the national anthem at the 2018 NBA All-Star Basketball game is one of my favorite videos on the internet. We all know that Fergie is talented, but what happened here? She was so into it, and if you look at the players' faces, they are all trying so hard not to laugh. It's really painful. The Fergie edition of the anthem was received so poorly, she had to put out a statement saying, "I'm a risk taker artistically, but clearly this rendition didn't strike the intended tone. I love this country and honestly tried my best. I do personally want to know what the intended tone was, and I would love to see soundcheck." This moment was caught on live TV, but it's now immortalized in a children's book too. The book is called The Ferg-American National Anthem, A Civic Story, and it's highly encouraged that the reader listen to Fergie's anthem while reading. Eerily similar to the Miss America moment was the La La Land debacle from the 2017 Oscars. Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway were up presenting the award for Best Picture that year and called out La La Land as the winner, but that was not true at all. Moonlight really won the award. It was extremely confusing, and though it only took a couple minutes to fix the mistake, the damage was done. After the event was over, the reason why the mistake happened came out. The Oscars apparently have 2 sets of the cards that presenters would get, one on each side of the stage. Emma Stone had just won Best Actress in La La Land, so one card was out, but the other Best Actress card was still active, and that one was handed to Warren and Faye by mistake. That's why Warren took so long to announce the award and looked at the card so many times. He could see that it said Emma Stone in La La Land and was just really confused by it. Luckily, they caught it though.
Red carpet events can be hit or miss. Celebrities walk down, talk to news outlets, pose for pictures, and stop every 6 or so inches to answer the same questions 10, 20, a million times. At the Time 100 Most Influential People red carpet, there was a buzz in the air that made you think, hey, maybe things are going to be different. After all, it's rare that an event will draw high-ranking diplomats, groundbreaking scientists, and Kim Ye all in one room, back when they were a thing. Get a bunch of famous people together and we're gonna get something fun. Granted, it must be said that that evening in particular truly belonged to comedian Amy Schumer, who was being honored for her show Inside Amy Schumer. So Kim Kardashian and Kanye West were nearby while the funny woman was being interviewed on the red carpet. With flashbulbs going off, Kim in this beautiful lace gown with a massive skirt, and then Kanye next to her looking like he does. They were there, and then all of a sudden, Amy started walking towards them. Was she gonna say hi? No, she threw herself in front of them, pretending like she had stumbled, and then laid there, completely face down on the carpet for quite a period of time. So Kim and Kanye pretended not to notice, and then we got Laverne Cox being like, "Yes, Amy, yes!" And I guess everybody laughed. So Kanye looked at Amy, still serious, but then after hearing the laughter, I guess Kim smiled, clearly not knowing what was going on, but recognizing that it was supposed to be funny. So after the couple at the time left the red carpet, a photographer was heard yelling from the pit, "Thank you for financing my healthcare and life insurance." And then Amy Schumer was like, "Oh, you're welcome, baby." So she later described her decision to dive in front of the couple on the Graham Norton show, saying, "I saw Kim and Kanye standing there, just owning it, being important. And I think falling is the funniest thing, so I took a dive in front of them." Okay, it's, sometimes you can let those impulsive thoughts stay in your head. In the span of a week back in 2012, Sacha Baron Cohen went from being banned from attending the Oscars, dressed as his latest character at the time, the Dictator, to getting a last-minute reprieve from the Academy, to dumping what he said was a dictator's ashes on Ryan Seacrest during the live red carpet coverage of the event. Emerging from a limo flanked by 2 women and dressed as General Aladdin, the fictional ruler of the Republic of whatever that he invented, he marched straight up to Ryan Seacrest and declared, "Death to the West!" before accidentally dumping an urn of ashes all over a very, shocked Ryan Seacrest. So what was the explanation behind all of this? Apparently it was actually Bisquick, by the way, and apparently this was like, oh, this dictator's dream to come to the Oscars and be sprinkled all over the red carpet, and something very explicit that I can't say. So after he completely slithered off back to where he belonged, Ryan Seacrest took it all in stride. He's like, I had an idea something was coming, but I didn't know what was coming, and now you know why this isn't taped. Anything can happen, and it most certainly did, all over my lapel. Turns out originally the plan to spell whatever it was in that urn was supposed to happen to George Clooney, but then somebody somewhere decided, hey, maybe that's a stupid idea because at the time, George Clooney was up for a lot of awards. So then they spun the wheel of tragedy and it landed on Ryan Seacrest. And also just, why? Gary Busey repeatedly interrupted Ryan Seacrest, wow, here we go again, while he was interviewing Laura Linney and Jennifer Garner for E! But the encounter became truly uncomfortable when Ryan asked Gary, do you know Jennifer Garner? And Gary responded by abruptly kissing her neck. Ugh. Jennifer was visibly taken aback, and rightfully so, and responded to Ryan's next question with a very valid one of her own. Aren't you gonna ask me about getting kissed on the neck on the red carpet by this man? Yeah, I'd be grossed out and running for the hills and maybe getting physical. Jennifer Lawrence took a heck of a tumble at the 2014 Oscars, but this wasn't on the telecast. The American Hustle star, clad in a red, beautiful Dior gown, apparently stumbled over a cone as she was exiting her limo when she arrived at the Dolby Theater red carpet. She's like, yeah, they put a cone right outside of my car, and I fell in the cone, and I have a goose egg, and it really hurts. That's what she told reporters. She's like, it's okay. I've got them all over myself. Girl, same, I got weird bruises everywhere. Although she didn't technically faceplant, she definitely got pretty close to the red carpet and needed security to help her get back on her feet. She was actually quite shocked about how quickly news of the trip up traveled, but you know, when you consider social media, how many thousands of cameras are on the red carpet, and viral everything, it's... When talking to Ryan Seacrest, because he's everywhere today, she's like, yeah, this wasn't a plan. I wasn't planning on making a sequel to my fall. She's like, I don't want it to start looking like it's my thing, so I've got to be careful. And then she later on told The Times that she was hoping she wouldn't have to deal with that ever again. Even Oscar host that year, Ellen DeGeneres, got in on the joke, starting her opening monologue by saying, if you win tonight, I think we should bring you the Oscar. And then she shared a photo of her on Facebook, being like, oh look, it's a rare photo of Jennifer Lawrence standing up. Yeah, we all know about your mean jokes now, Ellen. If you want to see a red carpet reporter work hard for her money, look no further than Kat Sadler trying to rein in a very philosophical Jim Carrey. So he was in attendance at the Harper Bazaar's Icons party and said, I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and then proceeded to explain how nothing was real, not even to him. And after Kat pointed out that like, yeah, I've never seen you at this before, he's like, yeah, there's no meaning to any of this. Boy, that is just the absolute lowest aiming possibility we could come up with. Do you believe in icons? Now when Kat tried to answer his statement, he interjected, I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you exist. But there is a wonderful fragrance in the air. Carrie even looked in the camera and gave this whole speech. I don't believe in icons. I don't believe in personalities. I believe that peace lies beyond personalities, beyond invention and disguise, beyond the red S that you wear on your chest that makes things bounce off. I believe it's deeper than that. I believe we're a field of energy dancing for itself, and I don't care. This wasn't exactly fresh poetry, by the way. The lines were borrowed from a commencement speech he gave in 2014 at a university. So sure, he kinda sounded like somebody on a bit of a bender, and it's not clear whether he sensed the irony in himself saying all of that while attending the party and wearing a flashy tailored suit. And when somebody did ask him about what he was wearing, he's like, oh, I didn't get dressed up. There is no me. There's just things happening. Okay, dude. Alrighty folks, fun fact about me, Zac Efron was my first celebrity crush. I had the posters on the wall, the High School Musical bedding, you name it. And then I heard about the embarrassing mishap at the Lorax premiere. Zac Efron was responsible for voicing Ted Wiggins. This boy, he's trying to impress a girl, whole thing, we find the Lorax. So at the time, I think he was like 24, and he was on the orange carpet at Universal Studios in Hollywood, because this was a movie targeted towards a young fan base, and he was greeting a fan, he was fumbling in his pockets, and then he dropped a condom. And the whole thing was captured on video, and because he was a Disney star at the time, it went viral. Look, it's not unbelievable he was carrying one. Like, that's, you know, not out of the norm for an adult. But that's what wallets are for. Like, why did nobody give him the memo? In an interview on the Today Show after the incident, he joked, I never really had a pocket checking policy prior to going on the red carpet before, but now we have one, and that was that. Look, it happened, he left it off, and now he checks his pockets with his team before being photographed by paparazzi. Much about the 2001 Oscar ceremony played out as expected. Julia Roberts completed her award sweep for Erin Brockovich, taking home the statuette for Best Actress. When Marsha Gray Harden beat out frontrunner Kate Hudson for Best Supporting Actress, it was a moment of surprise. But the biggest shock that night, 20-something years ago, and the most memorable moment of the 73rd Academy Awards happened outside the auditorium, on the red carpet, when Bjork appeared wearing a dress that resembled a swan. It was this crystal-encrusted body stocking surrounded by a puff of white tulle with a long neck that draped around her own, the orange beak resting on her chest. Her accessories? A trail of eggs that she laid as she walked down the red carpet. She's like, yeah, I was dropping them carefully on the red carpet. But other people's bodyguards kept picking them up and saying, excuse me ma'am, you dropped this. Yeah, it was a little out of the ordinary, but now it's a fashion moment we will never forget.